free mind. You crazy for this. Soulful. It's like our responsibility to make us feel something. You know, to make people feel what we feeling. Hey, yo.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is Comics Today, a show that we do on Wednesday to celebrate the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And I'll be honest, I did not think that I was going to make it. Just a short while ago, I was on a football field here in North Carolina watching my boy play the football and looking at my watch as the coach continued practice. And I looked at the watch and I looked at the coach, and he wasn't flinching. At one point, he looks at me and he's like, "Do you have the time?" And I'm like, "It's time for this to be over, coach. I have stuff to do." Shout out to Derek. He does a really good job with the kids, but we need to wrap it up. We need to wrap it up on time, Derek, especially on Wednesday, because we have a show to do. This is Comics Today, a show that we do, again, to celebrate the best day of the week. And as part of that, we talk about what comics are out right now, what comics you may have picked up earlier today, whether they be new comics or new to you comics. I want to hear about it in the chat. If you picked up some books today, let me know what it is you picked up. If you read something that was incredible that we should all be reading, I definitely want to encourage you to let us know that. And if it's not a new book, but a new to you book, we also want to celebrate, live vicariously through you spending money. It works incredibly well if we can celebrate one another's successes without spending any money. It is a fantastic thing. So I'll go to the chat here in a hot moment. I saw some people have picked up Isolation issue number 2. I know some folks are going to be reading it tonight. I hope that you enjoy it. Fingers crossed, in a couple of weeks, we will have some additional announcements to make. But I am waiting for a shipment of cover F to come in from Doug. I sent books off to him before the holiday. Because of the holiday, they were slow to come back to me, but I think that they should be here hopefully tomorrow. That will allow me to fulfill the outstanding orders that are presently in the queue. I will process orders just as soon as they come in. So bear with me on that. If you have not picked up a copy of Isolation issue number 1 or 2, they are available to you on the website, regiecollects.com. And as part of a little bit of a giveaway, we are going to be giving away a couple of books tonight. Some of those books are books from my friends over at Skybound. They sent me some books. I'm going to be giving those away, but I'm also going to give away a couple of copies of Isolation issue number 2. And you may see this wonderful seal here. This seal is affixed to only 25 copies of cover A that come out of the box. They are the first 25. I'm going to give away 3 of those over the course of the show tonight. It is, of course, a variant that is limited to 25 copies. And we're going to give at least one away to a Patreon member. So if you are a Patreon member here, definitely stay tuned for that. 2 others will be given away randomly for trivia. The trivia questions will come from the videos that have been released over the course of this week. If you missed the video, I don't know what to tell you. Let me go to the chat real quick to see what you guys may have picked up. William, if you, sir, do not spell my name correct. William, it is 1 G. Just a single G. William. Picked up Superman 123, John Kent's blue electric costume. What's funny is that I just looked at that book in the 100K collection myself over the course of this weekend, so shout out to that. Also, my free Marvel 2023 calendar. Congrats, William. Again, spell it just a singular G. Oh, I went too far. Trev, the shipping guru. Where is Trev, the shipping guru? I want to acknowledge our newest Blue Wrench. Shout out to Trev. He is a Patreon member, I do believe. He is a always present member in the chat, and he was nominated to become a Blue Wrench, and I could not agree more with the nomination. We decided to make it happen. Trev, it is an absolute pleasure to have you be part of the channel and to now be a Blue Wrench. My hope is that I can make your life easy where you don't have a whole lot of responsibility. But as I mentioned to you the other day, continue to show up, be here, welcome people, make people feel comfortable and a part of this community. That is the role of a blue wrench. And also to tell me when I mess up. That's the other part of it. Herman, how you doing, brother? Herman, he says, big day at the LCS, picked up Wakanda issue number 4, Dang Them All number 2, The Approach, X-Men, and Strange. He says a good week. That's what's up, Herman. Good stuff. I started reading, what is it, Strange? I read issue 1 and 2, and I'm going on to issue 3. I'm looking forward to it. I've been enjoying that read so far. John, how you doing, brother? Picked up X-Men 100, a CGC 9.6. Congrats to you, my friend. The Hooker for Life. No new comics today, but received his guide. Oh, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with the guide to smart comic collecting. He said, reading it at work right now. Don't get fired, sir. Don't get fired for reading comic book related material at the job. I will not save you. Do not start a sentence with Reggie said, because I cannot help you. Mark, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. I'm scrolling through. Tina's having connectivity issues. Fingers crossed that gets smooth out. Scrolling through. Fight the Good Fight. He says Light Hall this go round picked up ASM 17, the Del Otto variant, and Miles Morales issue number 2, ASM 1. Homage variant. I still like to say homage variant. Mark, my Canadian brother, Old Dog 3, Hexware 2, Barbaric. What do we get? Children of the Moon, Dune, House of Harkonnen, Behemoth 4, lots and lots of books. I will say, Mark, your LCS loves you. They love you. I am playing with you, brother. I am just teasing. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Seeing what else you guys are talking about, seeing else what you may have picked up. Scrolling through. Richard, thank you for stopping by, brother. I definitely see. Look at this. This is the correct spelling. God is deliverer of Isolation 1 and 2. I hope that you enjoyed the read. If you do, please circle back. Let me know. Tag me on Instagram if you put it up. If you do not like the read, I want you to take all of those complaints and send them right over to Doug.Bratton 9. I think that is his Instagram. You send all the complaints to Douglas, okay? Not to me. Awesome news. Congrats. There we go. Todd, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Scrolling through Nightwing 100, Isolation issue number 2, Monkey Prince number 10, Lazarus Planet, and 11 other books. Jason, your LCS and Swoldier Publishing love you. Just saying. Scrolling through some of it. Oh, Gargoyles. How is that? I went back and read, I want to say, issue 1 of the original Gargoyle series. I have not read the new one. I'm curious how that is going. Hitumi from HK. Is it HK Tack? I think that's it. Shout out to him. Awesome writer. Scrolling through Himcar, scrolling through some of the things here. What else you guys are talking about? Just a small at the LCS. Sometimes that's better than a comic. A small talk at the LCS. It's also free, sir. Small talk is also free and equally entertaining. Scrolling through, hope you grab Nightclub. I read Nightclub issue number 1 on the recommendation of Mark. And I think it was okay. I wasn't blown away by it, but I felt like it was a decent read. That was my takeaway. It was probably a couple of weeks ago that I read that one. And at the moment, the whole subject kind of escapes me. Wait a minute. It may come back to me. Scrolling through, this is a sell week. This is a sell week. Next week is a bye week. I respect it. I respect your hustle, sir, and your position. Old Dog is fantastic, says Steve White. Scrolling through, Immortal Sergeant, not bad, different, says George. That's what's up. Chuck, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Scrolling through some of the comments again, thank you guys for sharing some of what you guys are reading. I think it's wonderful when we have an opportunity to highlight some of the books that are out there, because I think that there are some good books out there, and I think it helps if we have the ability to reference some of this stuff so that people can know what's out there. Have not had a chance to read Gargoyle yet. Has been a busy week. I respect that. Trust me when I tell you, a couple of books here showed up at the house. Some last week, some this week. This is Venom 14. Venom 14 showed up, and I was very confused when I saw this. Amazing Spider-Man 17, super confused by that. I was like, why did they skip a number? I didn't realize that it was actually a different title because they look the same. And then today, issue number 17 of ASM popped in. I have not been reading this, but fingers crossed can get caught up. Last week was Moon Knight issue number 18. And then today, issue number 19. And again, I get all of my comics from mycomicshop.com, and they send them, I guess, when they send them. I don't know. Last week, it was a shipment. I think it was last week, maybe a week before. Who knows? This week, it was a shipment. And again, for those folks that are coming in a little late, we are going to be doing a couple of giveaways for some people. Randomly 2 trivia questions, and then 1 will go to a Patreon member. So bear with me, and the trivia questions will come from videos that were released over the course of this week. We are also going to have a guest on in a little bit that will spend a little bit of time talking with us about some things that are top of mind for me. One quick update that I did want to provide is that Hawkeye is back home. Jeremy Renner is back home. He replied to a tweet on the Twitter and confirmed, to the shock of many, that he was back home roughly 16 days after his accident. So Jeremy Renner shared that he's home from the hospital after a snowplow accident left him in critical condition. And a reply to a tweet about the season 2 of The Mayor of Kingstown, he wrote, "Outside my fog brain in recovery, I was very excited to watch episode 201 with my family at home." And I think like a day or two before, he commented that he was homesick. Probably they indicated to him that he was going to be able to return home soon if he met certain criteria. Sure enough, he met those criteria and was dismissed from the hospital or discharged, I should say, and is now home. And says the Marvel actor has been hospitalized since January 1 after experiencing a weather-related accident, that being a snowplow. A snowplow ran over him. That being the weather-related accident, he was, I guess, determined to not be impaired, but somehow or another, this snowplow rolled over him. There have been a lot of people commenting, a lot of unconfirmed rumors out there about Jeremy Renner having one or both of his legs amputated. It is not clear whether any of that is true or not, but there were a lot of news articles released over the last, I want to say, 1.5 weeks that spoke about the fact that he had lost one or both of his legs. I, to my knowledge, haven't seen anything from a respectable news organization that explains that anything has been amputated. There was actually video of him where he was being wheeled into an MRI scan, and it appeared that there were legs at the bottom, but it is unconfirmed. It is unconfirmed whether anything has been amputated. All that we have heard is that he underwent at least one surgery, and he's had a couple of MRI scans. To my knowledge, that is all that we've heard. But again, that does not stop people from spreading false rumors for the sake of clicks. So I wanted to kind of throw that out there. But Jeremy Renner is at home, and fingers crossed is going to continue to recover. And again, my thoughts are with him. This came out, I want to say, a day or two after his accident. He actually sent this out on Instagram. There's no doubt that he is jacked up, but hopefully he's on the road to recovery, especially after having spent his 52nd birthday in the hospital, in the ICU. I hope he continues to get better for lots of reasons. All right, let me go to the chat real quick. See if you guys are talking about this. Breaks my heart. Hope all goes well, says Seth. Scrolling through some of the comments to see whether there's anybody commenting on this. No good deed goes unpunished. He was trying to help somebody out of a family member out of the snow and got trapped. That's good news. He appears to have been busted up pretty bad. What was it? Blunt trauma to his chest, and definitely some damage to his leg because a tourniquet had to be applied. I think a lot of people again have speculated that his legs were crushed and all of that other kind of stuff. Fingers crossed that is not the case. There was some comments in there where it said something like it could take him up to 2 years to recover. But again, a lot of this stuff is unconfirmed, people speculating and drawing conclusions on very little evidence and information. But that's what we know. Yeah, 52 years old. His 52nd birthday was while he was in the hospital. I'd lie to you if I tried to tell you which day it was. But yeah, he's 52 years old. What's crazy is right before the accident, I was watching a bunch of his old movies from the Bourne franchise. I just watched Hurt Locker. So I had been watching a lot of his stuff because I dig him. Doesn't need to get yeah, I hear you. MCU could take pictures of his current status and use it. Hey, yeah, I mean, they could leverage it. They could leverage. You might as well make that money, man. Who is it? The Rock that was getting paid $1 million to promote movies on his social media platform. I mean, get the money however you get it, okay? And just to be clear, there is nothing wrong with being 52 years of age. I think people were surprised that he is so spry for a gentleman that is 52 years of age. So I think that maybe was it. Not a criticism at all. Yeah, man, I love the Bourne franchise. I really do. That whole franchise, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Identity, Bourne Legacy, I think those were the three. Loved every single one of those movies. Give me more of that kind of stuff. I dig it. Take the pill, get the fever, whatever it is, bake in the enhancements, whatever you do, bring some of that stuff back because I thoroughly enjoyed that franchise. Speaking of successful franchises, 4.7 million viewers. 4.7 million viewers is exactly how many viewers The Last of Us brought in for the HBO Max platform, which is the second largest debut after House of Dragons. So House of Dragons crushed it at like, I don't know, 9 million viewers or something like that. We'll look at the numbers here. 2010 Boardwalk Empire made magic happen. And if you have not seen Boardwalk Empire, treat yourself. 2010, fantastic series. And then after that, we have The Last of Us comes in at the second largest debut. The Last of Us drew a healthy number for HBO on Sunday night. The video game adaptation drew 4.7 million viewers across HBO Max, the second largest debut after House of Dragons since Boardwalk Empire launched in 2010. And it says here, the Game of Thrones spinoff made history last year by premiering with 9.9 million viewers across HBO Max, the largest audience for any new original series in the history of the pay cabler, which is redunculous. And then Boardwalk Empire, again, gay show. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. In 2010, they set some numbers with 4.8 million. And now we have The Last of Us, 4.7. Didn't even know this was a video game. I'll be honest with you. I knew that it was a comic, and I went hunting for that comic this weekend in the 100K collection. There's a video that is going to be coming out that is going to be talking about that. But what is crazy is I watched the trailer for this thing maybe on Saturday or Friday, I can't remember, and was mad because I didn't know that it was just a trailer. I thought I was about to sit down and watch the show. It was a trailer. Did some research, found out that it was a comic, and I was like, I'm going to go find this comic in the 100K collection. And then on Sunday, I took some time to actually watch the episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I felt like it was a little slow, but I enjoyed the show overall. It, to me, felt a little bit like Falling Skies with, was it Noel Wiley? I think that's the guy Carter from ER. I enjoy Falling Skies. I enjoyed The Last of Us. I think they've made some deviations and pivots from the game in terms of bites versus spores in the air. By and large, the feedback from people that have played the video game think that the adaptation for HBO Max is incredible. People seem to really enjoy it, and potentially the Warner Brothers is turning a corner. Maybe I'm choosing to be positive, right? Choosing to be positive. Maybe they are turning the corner and getting themselves together. We heard earlier today that Shazam, Gods of Fury has secured a release date for China, which I think is a wonderful thing. That movie made $366 million. The first one did. And having access to the Chinese market will position that, then the second movie, the follow-up, to hopefully do better than the first, again at $366 million. And pardon me if I get a number wrong, but the Warner Brothers is trying to make some magic happen, and fingers crossed that they are going to start putting one foot in front of the other and making some progress. All right, let me go to the chat real quick. Travis, like Falling Sky. What is that? I was into Falling Skies until the last season. Herman, I do not disagree with you, sir. It's been years since I watched it, but I do remember that last season, not so much, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that series. Choose positivity every single day. Nerd Herd Podcast, welcome to the live stream. We definitely appreciate you up in here. What is this? Let me see. Oh, here we go. Been recommending your video. Variants will leave you broke. Man, oh man, some truths there. Seeing the data was staggering. Keep up the content. At the end of the day, brother, my goal is not to tell people what to do, but my goal is to raise the flag, to point out some things, to give people some things to think about. At the end of the day, we are all grown people, and we will make decisions for ourselves, right? But I want to try to be that friend that is like, hey, here's something to consider. Hey, have you thought about that? And that's part of why I did that video. It's not to say that variants are bad or that you should not pick them up. It's simply to say, hey, you might want to think about this. You might want to think about when you pick them up. You might want to think about how much you pay. You might want to think about, do you wait a little bit? Do you need to send it off to be graded? And I think, again, instead of doing it with emotion and anecdotal evidence, let's put the numbers out there. Let's look at some data. Let's look at some information. And then from that, we can all make informed decisions. And at the end of the day, you may do something completely counter to what I say, but you'll make it having heard my thought and pausing for a second. And whatever you decide, that's the right decision. So thank you for recommending it. I try to put out content that is actually going to be helpful for people. That is the goal. There you go. Fight the good fights on the Falling Skies. That's what's up. That's what's up. Scrolling through. Das, how you doing? It's good to see you. Welcome to the live stream. Clay, it has been so long that you've forgotten how to spell my name, but it is good to see you nevertheless. The Last of Us American Dreams is a mini prequel to the video game. There's Sam dropping knowledge up in here. Scrolling through, we literally just spoke about this. Should I acquire a copy of Last of Us now, or should I be patient and wait for a cool down because I'm getting Walking Dead FOMO? What I would say to you, brother, is what is the comic actually doing right now? When I looked yesterday, I didn't see any real movement in the comic, but that could have changed. I don't know when the data was refreshed, right? That's always the chance that we take. We don't know what's going on with the data. But I would say look at the data. Look at what the book was selling for. Look at what it's selling for now and decide whether people are rushing out to buy comics. I personally believe that the economy is such that speculation has slowed a lot. And I don't know if people are immediately rushing out buying things that are being optioned and being shown on TV. But look at the data, make an informed decision. And clearly Hooker for Life means that you are a fisherman. Clearly that's what it means. I thought your last name might be Hooker, but the photo absolutely helped. So I appreciate that. So there was a short that I did the other day. I did a short the other day in which I spoke about some toys that are going to be coming out. And there's a lot of people that speculate on what happens in toy markets and what that might mean for things that we can see in movies and in TV shows. There's always a lot of speculation about some of that stuff. And I think that there's reasons for that. The lead times that are associated with toys, the collaboration that exists between the toy manufacturers and the publishers of comics. People see synergies there, and they're always trying to look for anecdotal evidence and data to draw conclusions from. I think it makes perfect sense. And so I received some information the other day that highlighted that Lego is going to be releasing in 2023 181 individual kits, 181 individual kits, of which 15 are Marvel and 3 are DC. And for giggles, we decided to look at what they did in 2022 for Black Panther and Black Adam. And what we found is that they released 8 Black Panther kits, Lego did, and 0 for Black Adam. And the question that has to be asked is, does Lego know something that we don't know about DC? That is like the question, right? And so what I decided to do was to I just read a comment that says something like baby Jesus. So what I decided to do was to invite somebody on the show that could potentially provide a little bit of insight into this, primarily because this person actually counted the individual kits and tallied up the numbers on my behalf and allowed me to do a video about it. So I'm very thankful for that. So I want to welcome to the show my Canadian brother.
Hi, Reggie. Sorry.
How are you?
I'm good.
What you do in your free time as a retired gentleman?
What?
Mark, it's good to see you. You counted these kits individually, you tallied them up. The question that I have to ask you is there something to learn from what Lego is potentially doing with the Marvel DC kits that they're rolling out in 2023?
I think so. And full disclosure, one of my boys is a Lego maniac and has, like, I don't know, 1,400 or 1,200 minifigures alone. Anyway, so those might be his, and I better make sure they're not scratched because he'll check them and I'll put them back exactly where they were. Anyway, I think the really good to give it some makes sense is, remember when the Hobbit movie came out in 2012? Okay.
Yep.
Lego went mental with kits. Okay. And they released a whack of kits, but suddenly there was a bunch of kits when that movie came out that suddenly became preview kits. Because when Lego made the agreement and started to make the kits, the Hobbit movies, there was only 2. It became a trilogy. So they had released kits for this movie with characters that didn't show up
in 1 and 2.
In 1 and 2, yeah, 1 and 2, or in 2, but no longer in 1. And they went, uh-oh. And they had to release preview kits, which they had never done before. If that gives you any idea of the time before the movie's released, that Lego already knows what's going on. So in Toronto, they have Fan Expo that we go to every year. And quite often we stop by Greg Hyland's desk. He's the guy. And
Greg Hyland is whom?
He's the guy who does the cartoon books for the Lego kits for the comics.
Got it.
He's the comic guy, and his desk always has minifigures that haven't been released on it. That he watches very carefully, and it's kind of a preview. And I used to always talk with him, and he has non-disclosure agreements. He can't talk about the comics that he's doing and all of those things. And he gets the story, the characters, all of those things, sometimes years in advance of a release of a movie.
Yep.
Because they have,
because of the lead time associated with the I guess the development, the production, the manufacturing, the distribution of the Lego kits.
Of the Lego kits. And what's interesting is the studios approach Lego, and Lego approaches the studios, because every kit that they sell with the character likeness, somebody's making money, not just Lego.
Yep.
And like, if you've got your kids playing with a whole bunch of little Legos from a movie, and the movie's now playing, what do the kids want to do? They want to go see the movie.
Yep.
So what's interesting to me is Lego's not releasing. They're releasing all kinds of DC kits, but they're all Batman. And Lego does its own Batman movie. How many Lego kits do you think were melted down or left on the floor as a result of a Batgirl movie?
Oh, that's painful to think about. I had not necessarily thought about that. You think about the Warner Brothers cost and what they talk about, but you don't think about all of the associated costs, right? For other partners that they may have. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
maybe none,
maybe none,
right?
maybe
Or
none, or
it could have been a
maybe
lot.
there could have been a lot, and maybe that's why there is 0 Black Adam kits.
I had not thought about that. I mean, what I heard you just say there is that potentially they got burned on Batgirl,
Maybe.
and maybe they're pulling back because they don't know whether DC is going to fulfill its commitments
Yeah.
that they've kind of outlined, which kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
If that happened, right?
So if you and I come to an agreement, and you've taken all the expense of creating this product, and at the last hour I go, "Oh, Reggie, by the way, I'm not doing that now."
Yeah.
You're not going to be very happy. And this
No,
is
you're dead to me. You're
Yeah,
dead to me, like
absolutely.
legitimately. If I spend
Legitimately.
money and we agree, I spend
Yep.
money, you're dead to me. Sorry.
And this is pure speculation on my part, but
Yeah.
I've over the years, there's been all kinds of DC properties in Lego, but you're not seeing any Flash stuff. Now, do you think Lego's a little worried about that? Is this movie coming out or isn't it coming out?
Yep.
What are we going to do here? You saw all of these movies that were, put out. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. That aren't going to happen. And now you have these toy companies, not just Lego. You have toy companies who have huge investment because you have molds and artists and rendering and create all of that stuff. And they're going, wait a minute. Marvel's knocking it out of the park. Like
And
Marvel,
they're consistent.
Lego did a Morbius kit. Think about that.
Hey, there's money to be made there,
There's
brother.
money
I
to be made.
like Morbius. I'm into vampires. I'm good with that.
Well, there's a kit there, but also they're not dumb either. Lego put Miles Morales in that kit.
So, and the Morbius kit?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
I mean, so to that point, I think that there's things that we can absolutely take away, but then there's also, to your point, maybe a little bit of marketing that's happening there because they put Miles Morales with Morbius in order to sell Morbius because they know the popularity of Miles Morales. That's not to signal that Miles Morales was going to be in Morbius, which might be a takeaway that some people could have if they got that toy in advance, right?
Absolutely. And you see lots of people making speculation on comic books because of what they see on the toy shelf.
Yep.
And it's really interesting to me because I wander through, like the Walmarts and the toy aisles just to see what's kind of popping out. And I mean, I think you can still find Jesse Eisenberg dolls sitting on the shelf unsold from a horrible movie that he was in for DC. And like some people lost money on those. When you can still see those in dollar stores and discount stores, those kind of toys, like you don't see Lego kits as a rule.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, older Lego kits, they go up in price. You're not seeing that. So when I see a big company that has a license to print money because of a little tiny brick, and if they can put a spider symbol on it, and I mean, if they can sell this still, the spider buggy, I mean, why did Spider-Man need a buggy?
It was a promotional effort, man. That's all that was. Like, I think it was for the cartoon, was it? They needed action figures, right?
But they put it in a comic with Hammerhead. I mean, anyway, I digress. But it's a vehicle. But you think about Black Adam. How many new vehicles are in that? How many new figures?
That Hawkman ship would have been amazing.
Amazing. Hawkman. How many new characters?
Yeah.
Not a toy.
I went and started reading Hawkman comics because of the Black Adam Hawkman appearance. That got me interested. So I don't buy toys, but I definitely see the connection between the movies, the TV shows, the toys. It's all connected. And to your point, to see nothing for Black Adam and to see only 3 kits planned for DC for 2023.
And 2 of those kits are keychains. There's only 3 kits. 2 of them are keychains, and the other one is a bat motorcycle. So a bat bike that has, like, you can put out a bat motorcycle, like a bat bike. You could put it out once a year and never have a Batman movie, and it's still going to sell because it's the bat cycle.
It's Batman.
Batman.
Fingers crossed that when DC gets itself together, fingers crossed that you start to see the synergy come back. And I think them being consistent, them being able to release movies on time, is going to set that path. Shazam getting access to the Chinese market, good thing. Movie
Good
comes
thing.
out, have some success, bring out the rest of those movies. You start to build some momentum, and maybe we start to get some Lego kits.
And the kids that are building Lego, those are your ticket buyers in another few years.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
that's your fan base. Why did you fall in love with a certain character? Well, if you're Dave, it's because you play with your action figures and you fall in love. Like, I'm afraid to ask how many Shazam action figures that man has. Anyway, but
A lot. Let's just say
a
that.
lot.
But brother, I want to thank you for coming on, man, and chatting. Thank you for pulling those numbers together, sending them over to me,
Anytime.
allowing me to create the video, and then coming on that to help us understand it a little bit more. So thank you for that. Where can people get a hold of you on the social media?
On Instagram at Mark Andrews, just run me on there. Quite often, I'm just sitting here in the chat pestering Tina and apparently a new blue wrench to keep me on my straight and narrow, and I'm around.
It's good to see you, brother. Thank you for everything.
Anytime, Reggie. Be
Take
good.
care. All right. So there was a comment that was made as to whether I had ever stepped on a Lego. The answer is yes. So you all know that peanuts are the devil's granola and Legos are devil's bricks. Okay. They are the work of the devil. They are evil. My kids have a ton of Legos and I absolutely hate them. I make them keep them in a certain area. And when they're done, when they walk away from them, I scoop them up and put them back in the bin because they are absolute evil. Shout out to Mark. I want to thank him again for jumping on here and walking us through some of that stuff. He says Blue Beetle Legos may be cool. Again, fingers crossed that Lego and Warner Brothers is able to work out their differences and make some magic happen, because I think it is cool when you have that synergy that happens between the movies, the TV shows, and the comics. We actually saw a little bit of that when I spoke about this on, I think it was on Instagram. There is a new trailer that actually came out promoting the Marvel Unlimited platform. And the argument that they make in this trailer is that everything that you have seen in movies has already happened in the comic. It started first in the comic. They're drawing those connections, right? They are doing what we have always said that they should do, which is to leverage the movies and use that to drive people back to the comics. Marvel Unlimited, the trailer that came out, is doing exactly that. Now, as I watched this trailer on the Stairmaster this morning, I had some epiphanies, right? I had some epiphanies. And the epiphany that I had is that everything that was shown in that trailer has happened in a movie or is going to be happening in the movie. The only thing that was shown that has not happened is Sam Wilson as Cap teaming up with Miles Morales. And in my mind, because again, things don't happen by chance, they happen by purpose. That to me was a sign that Marvel was signaling that Miles Morales was coming to the MCU. I said it, and I stand by it. Let's give away a comic real quick. We're going to give away this book right here. This is Isolation issue number 2. This is a first 25. This is one of 25 books that were pulled out of the bin. We are going to give it away anywhere in North America. Anywhere in North America. Blue Wrenches, I need you to help me out here with this one. We're going to do Keep Me Honest on this one. Earlier this week, I released a video in which I spoke about a modern comic book artist, and I specifically highlighted that comic book artist, Variant Comics, and I explained that their value had not increased, they had decreased. It's not a criticism of that artist. Who was the artist? Who was the artist that was actually showcased in that video? I need their name. The very first one that I see will be the winner of this. Let me scroll through and see. Frog Brawler says, I like that speculation. Mark always brings some good stuff. He does. Mark always brings some good stuff to the conversation. We talk. We don't talk every day a lot, but we touch base every day, and he has some insight. It gets me thinking, which I think is a wonderful thing. All right, so let me scroll through. Frog Brawler saying he likes that speculation, and the very first name that I see, again, Blue Wrenches, Keep Me Honest. Trev is now a new Blue Wrench, so I don't know if he can keep me honest because he is the winner. He is the first name that I actually see with the correct answer of Alex Ross. Alex Ross is indeed the winner, or the name. So there you go. If you guys have not seen that video, I encourage you to check it out. It is a Snag These Books Now video that is available. I highlight books that have come down in value, and basically say, if you've been looking for this book, now is potentially the time. And I can tell you, the very first book that was featured in that video, I got confirmation today that somebody actually picked it up. I know somebody that actually picked that book up because they looked at the data, to the point that someone else made. They looked at the data and realized that that book was indeed a cheap book versus where it was before, and they decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on picking that book up. I put the videos out there to raise awareness, to say, hey, check this out. Think about it. It is not to say you should absolutely go buy these things, because everyone's situation, everyone's financial situation is different. Trev, congrats on being a Blue Rinse. Congrats on winning Isolation, the first 25. Send me an email to Reggie@regiecollects.com so I can bundle this up. I like to get the names and addresses and all that kind of stuff for my records to know where I'm sending stuff. So send me an email and I will hook you up with that. A lot of other people, Richard got it correct. Victor was correct. Brandon was correct. Scrolling through, dang it, troll was what Richard said. Yeah, he beat you. He beat you, brother. No doubt about it. Comics Embraced. How you doing? Scrolling through. It was the Alex Ross Timeless Variants. And part of the reason, why part of the reason why I actually focused on Alex Ross was because I had somebody on a previous video that I released comment that the timeless variants have come out and have only increased in value. And that is factually inaccurate. It is factually inaccurate. I think in that video I showcased maybe 5 books. I pulled data on about 8 books, and almost all of them had dropped in value. There was the Spider-Man book that I think was doing pretty well, but many of them have come out, dropped in value, and are kind of eking along. And again, if you have not seen that video, go check it out. I think it's a good video, lots of good data. And again, it's not a criticism of Bob Ross or his brother Alex Ross. It is just a statement of fact. Scrolling through, thank you, Joe. I definitely appreciate it. Scrolling through. Doug is up in here. Speaking of great writers, Doug, it is always good to see you, my friend. I'm scrolling through. Lots of people talking here. Well, bored. Thank you for coming through, brother. J. Scott Williams. Scrolling through. My feed would jack up right before you posed the question. Didn't you say Bob Ross? Oh no, that wasn't you that said Bob Ross. Scrolling through. Oh, there you go. Very good read. We'll throw that up there. Haven't really been listening, but he's been reading issue number 1 and 2 of Isolation. Do what you do, brother. Okay, do what you do. Read Doug's wise words that are on that paper. He is now a Blue Wrench. We announced it at the beginning of the show. He is making, yeah, man. I actually did an alert on that. I did a short on that when that was announced. He is indeed doing another set of variants. And so the question, like, I had people that were paying $30 for the raw versions of the first series and around $150 for the graded 9.8s. And so the question would be, if you saw what happened with the hero version, and he is now coming out with a villain version, what should you do? You should do what you think is the right thing to do, right? But Alex Ross is no joke. And technically, is it 37 or is it 37 times 2? And I say that because of the sketch version and the color version. Is it only 37 or is it 37 times 2? I do not know that. I did not. I did not look into that. Was that the one that was sold for like $1,500? I think there was one that was like, it was a weird spike in value. I did not get a chance to go back and look into it. I've been stupid busy with work. But yeah, a lot of crazy things that have been going on with some of that data. I like Alex Ross is the best. I love Astro City with him. You know what? I found a lot of Astro City in the collection and have not read it. I have not read it, and I think I would like to. I think I would like to read it. It's one of those series that, like Kingdom Come, that, or Marvels, right? I think you have to read it. So at some point, I will make that happen. Great content. Until I build a strong collection. I enjoyed the book talk from you. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. The key to building a strong collection is to start building a collection. That is the key. Over time, it gets stronger and stronger. There you go. Scrolling through, bye, says Alex Ross. scrolling through. Let me see. I've already ordered the first group of releases ordered for the Villain Timeless. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Buy them all and throw them in a box, says Frog Brawler again. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody has to have an approach. Yes, 37 times 2, because they will have the color and the sketch. Alex Ross is no dummy, okay? He knew when he did the first hero that he was going to do villains, right? So you know what's coming next. It's the teams. It's the teams. It's the classic cover. He is going to milk that cow for all that it's worth. So buckle up, get ready, because it is a coming. And again, when that was first announced, I did a short on that. One of the cool things that I get to do on Instagram and sometimes even on YouTube is release these very short news alerts that come up. It took me 2 times to read it, but again, not bad. Astro is so good. All original characters and stories. That's what's up. All right, so let me give away something. Blue Wrenches, Patreon members, if you are here, I am going to write a number down on this piece of paper. And the person that comes closest to that number, if you are a Patreon member, will get one of these jams. Trev, you are not eligible, okay? Your luck is too good today. You are not eligible. You will get one of the 1 of 25. I will send it out to you. 1 through 10. 1 through 10, the person that gets the number or closest to the number will be the winner. Patreon members only. I don't know where that came from, sir. I've been doing a lot of live streams and I don't think that I've ever snort laughed. I don't think that I've ever done it before. It was the first. And I'm not proud of it. I'll just be completely honest with you. I am not proud of it. Scrolling through. All right. Let me see. I'm scrolling down. All right. So let me go to the numbers here. I see 8. I see 5, 11. Are Canadian numbers different from US numbers? I think there is 5 and there is 9. Seth, you, sir, Seth. Look at me. Seth, you, sir, are the winner. That is the number. The number is indeed 9, which is my line number from one of the fraternities that I became a member of. Seth, please send me an email to Reggie@RegieCollects.com. Joe's got multiple guesses. He's got 5, 3, 9, 1. Like, you're just picking all the numbers there, brother. Seth, make sure you send me an email with your full name, your mailing address to Reggie@RegieCollects.com, and I will bundle up a copy of Isolation issue number 2, the 1 in 25 variant, and I will send that over to you. All right. So one other topic that I want to get to, and then we're going to do one more giveaway. This will be an open giveaway for everybody. I receive a lot of messages from people every single day, and I'm very thankful for these messages because they help me to understand what's happening, what people are thinking. People come to me for advice, how to sell a collection, how to buy a collection, gifts for significant others. I get all kinds of messages every day from people all around the world, and I'm very thankful for that because that input helps me tremendously. So if you send me messages and you have a point to your message, I welcome all that. All right. Somebody sent me a message and they asked me a question about something. They said, how would you go about valuing this thing? And I gave them some of my insight, and I want to hear from you all. How would you go about valuing this? Do you think that this thing has some value? Would you buy this thing, right? How much money would you spend on this? This is what I want to try to understand. We're going to do a little bit of market research because, again, I am trying to pressure test some of my own thoughts. All right. What is that? All right. All right. So here we go. Let me show you what it is that was sent over to me that I try to price out. This is something from J. Scott Campbell. It is basically a pen tester. Doug and I have signed a lot of comics, and Doug No, I've messed up a lot of comics because I've gone to write on the comic and the ink did not flow. J. Scott Campbell is a talented man. He signed a lot of comics, and he basically uses a comic to test his pen before signing. And so what you see here, this confetti design with some sketches of or writings, his name, this is J. Scott Campbell testing out his pens. And there are multiple versions of this thing that I'll try to show you. That was one of them. I'll show you another here. This is the second one, which is a spread. This is a spread of 3. So you can see he doesn't just do this for one cover. He has multiple, and you can see he wrote the word bad here. I don't know if that's his writing or if that's actually on the comic itself, to be honest with you. It looks like different writing, so that must be him writing bad on the comic. Maybe one that's damaged that he can't sell or something like that. Like here, if you look here, there's actually, I don't know if that's a defect or whatever, but these are testers. These are testers. So that's the second option. Here is, let me see if I can find another one, find a third one here. Here is, no, we don't want to show that one. Here's another one. This one is very similar to the first one that I show. A little bit of confetti design, a couple of I guess S's, capital S's there, or capital C's, and then just him testing things out. So the question here is, how would you go about valuing that? How would you go about valuing that? What I recommended is that you look at the value of that comic. What is he selling that comic for? How much is it going for on the open market? What does it cost to get a J. Scott Campbell signature? What does it cost to get a J. Scott Campbell version of that comic signed by him? And you use that as the starting point to be able to determine where your starting point might be for selling something like that. There really isn't a market for something like this. Some of them have remarks that he's done. Some have multiple signatures. Some have a single signature. Some have just doodles that he may do or something like that. So again, I'll throw that out there. Those are very unique, says Mark. He says those are very unique. They are completely unique. He says tester slabs, nice autographs. I'd buy one of those covers. He loves the colors. That's why he's a pro. Brandon, thank you. Brandon, thank you. Thank you for graffiti books. Amazing. Pen testing can be quite fun, but get permission first. Otherwise, it's hacking. Scrolling through, I like it. Fun and unique. That's an awesome book. I do that on blank checks to make sure my autograph looks cool. Hey, I'll take some of that. Reggie is a smudger, witnessed it. Hey, brother, I jacked up a lot of books. I'm gonna tell you. I look at. Sometimes I let, if Doug signs first and then I jack it up, it doesn't go well because he's got to sign the book again, and his signature is always pretty tight. Not so much mine. I buy that for $1. Says Fight the Good Fight. $50 increase and original value for signature only. I give him $2. Says Steve. I look at Remark as a comparable starting point. That's not a bad idea. I did not think about using a Remark as a starting point. I looked at it as, again, the book, the signatures use that, but a Remark is not a bad point to look at. Just throw money at it and see what sticks. Hey, that is not a bad idea. Scrolling through, I bet those clusters of dots are getting new paint to flow. Yeah, that's probably him. Doug, I'll tell you, I use your technique, brother. Rub it a little bit and then sign. That does work like a charm. It's cool, and that's it. I say what comic it is and maybe the price of a Remark. There you go. All right, there's some consistency there. It could be used as a new category of collectible, says Herman. Super cool. Don't waste the book, right? I mean, I have a box full of books that from isolation that I can't sell that have damage to them. And I just try to keep them together because it helps me to keep count of waste, or I rip the cover off and give it away as a reader copy for someone. Yes, it's a new collectible market. Tests, signings. I like it. These are not my books. I will tell you that these are not my book. Carpal tunnel prevents my articulation. There you go. There you go. Our signed comics. What does it say? Are signed comics verified by CBCS generally accepted in the comic book community as being authentic? Because I've seen several signed comics. Yeah, I would say if CBCS, they have had at least one challenge where they verified something that was not an authentic signature, but I don't think that their business suffered greatly because of that mistake. Again, I think that CBCS is a reputable company. They do verify signatures, and I think people recognize that, and it's a valid seal, if you will. What I will say is that they are pretty much the only company out there. Maybe PGX. You guys would have to check me on that. I'm not big on PGX, or I'm not as familiar with them, I should say. But they are one of the few companies that will verify a signature that has been placed upon a book where they did not witness it. So that's really your only option. The one thing I will say to you is look at Go Collect, for example. Go Collect has all label values for CBCS and CGC. You can look up the value to see what's happening with that value to make sure that there is some value there for those signed books. So just try to get some data. Try to get some data is my point. So again, we heard some basis of potentially looking at the book's cost plus that of a remark and using that as a basis to triangulate what a starting price might be. If there's other ideas that people have, I definitely welcome those thoughts. Again, people come to me and I sometimes have to not make it up, but I have to answer them, and I try to apply some logic to my response so that I can give them a response. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier. I give people things to think about. Ultimately, where they land is on them. But I wanted to pressure test my own thinking just a little bit. And again, for me, it was the book. What is the book? What is the value of the book? What is the cost of a signature or a remark? Right now, we've added that to it. And that might be your starting point for determining what a value for these books will be. The challenge is that these books could not be sent to CGC to get a yellow label. They would get a green label. They would then or have to go to CBCS and be verified, which is a whole nother thing, but that is an option if this actually does take off. So I kind of wanted to throw that out there. All right. Let me see. Is there a section on signature verification in the guide? There is. So if you have not picked up a copy, do I have one here on the desk? I do not. A copy of the guide to smart comic collecting. I would definitely encourage you to check it out. They are available on regiecollects.com. It is 88 pages of fantastic content that is designed to help you. And to Doug's point, one of the things that we do look at is signature verification, the different grading companies that are out there. This is 88 pages of some fantastic information. Have you ever wondered which grading company has the highest grade of a particular blue chip comic? Have you ever wondered how many they have versus the other grading company? We actually analyze that in the guide. We literally look at the most popular characters that are out there at Marvel and DC. We went to the census and the population report and we tabulated who had the highest grade, how many do they have. We break that down in here. The guide is available on the website, regiecollects.com. Check it out. The market is definitely down, no doubt about it. So invest in yourself, invest in your understanding of the hobby, and the guide can absolutely help you do that. All right, let me scroll through. I think I am all caught up. One of the benefits of living in a small town when you have to drop something off there. All right. So let's give away one more book. We're going to give away one more book and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Earlier this week, I released a video, Comics People Love to Hate. And in that video, I highlighted several books, characters, and themes that people love to hate. What is one of those things? The first person that gives me a correct answer will be the recipient of this book right here, and I will mail it out to you again. This is available to somebody in North America. What is one of the books, people's characters, concepts that people love to hate? And let me see. Some things just, it is not Darkwing. It is not Darkwing, sir. It is Dark Hawk. Clones, there you go. That's a good one. Hulk 181. Dazzlers did no. I like that Dazzler outfit. The Clone Sagas. That no one hates the X-Men, sir. No one, not a single person. Victor, we have to work on your spelling. Victor. I think autocorrect got you, brother. I think it got you. The very first correct answer that I see is from Jason. Jason, you got it. Turok issue number 1 is a book that people love to hate. What's funny, today somebody sent me a message and said, Reggie, what's the deal with Harbinger #1? I said, if you got that book for $1, you are doing swell, especially if it is a high grade copy. Somebody picked it up, high grade copy for a single dollar. You cannot beat that. You cannot beat that. Congrats to all of the winners tonight. 3 awesome books that we're going to give away. I may try to add a little bit to it for you guys. Some things that, again, came in from Skybound. They sent me a ton of really great stuff. Chroma, some Dark Ride, Stillwater, Walking Dead. They sent me a ton of books. So I'll try to put together a couple of things and send that stuff out to you guys. So there you go. All right, let me scroll down. Pouches. Man. Pouches in the 90s Marvel. All those pouches, no doubt about it. Let me see. I'm scrolling through some of the comments here. Let me see. All right, I think I'm all caught up. I want to give a huge shout out. I want to give man, if you have not read Chroma, read it. The writer on that spoke about issue #3. It is out. I have not read it. I read issue #1, issue #2. It's a good read. The art is solid. The story is different. They say that there's not a whole lot of really great original content out there, and I absolutely disagree with it. I think there's a lot of really great stuff out there for people to check out. Chroma is one of those things. And again, there's a lot of great content that's out there. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. Huge shout out to all the Patreon members that are continuing to support the channel. Huge shout out to everybody that continues to watch the shorts and the reels and the videos that come out on YouTube. I absolutely appreciate you all. And if for some reason you need to reach out to me, don't hesitate to do so. The best way to get me is on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
My body ate itself until it found its passion. They got fat while we starved, but it's power in fasting. Until I turn to ashes, I remain stoic through my rap heroics. I painted 10,000 poems, then I drank the potion of poetry and motion. I started choking, it was potent. My throat chakra downloaded, knowledge hungry. I was embarrassed I could ask my parents for money when I had a full tummy. So I asked for wisdom, better than crypto, sweeter than honey. I don't take it for granted, I don't wear capes and masks.